Hello and welcome to Caching Waves. This is your Elliott Wave update for AVAX. I just wanted to go over the daily real quick in case you haven't seen this. I actually have this as a 3-wave move to the upside followed by a flat pattern as a 3, 3, 5. Got our ending diagonal here. Third wave's nice and expanded here, and our first one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with an ending diagonal. So all that does for me is in the future I'd expect a 3-wave pattern rather than a 5, and that's something we'll worry about in the future. We'll see the extensions we get. But based on this low over here, we came between the 50 and the 618 of the entire pattern, and it appears we're coming off in a impulse. So it's going between linear and log scale, and if this chart's working on log scale, I'd be more likely to call this a 1, 2, 1, 2 because we haven't hit the 100% yet extension of this first wave 1. And if that was in play, we'd expect a larger retracement on this wave here and not hold this pitchfork. So if we do come down here, I would consider the fact that this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2. But if I go on linear, we actually came right through the 1.618, just below the 200. So if this is labeled correctly as a 1, 2, 3, 4 working on our fifth, our targets would be around the 2.382 at around $57. Because we passed through the 1.618, we have to go to the next fib level for our target. And if we go back to $57 on the daily, it lines up with this entire resistance zone. Which I believe is the accurate count here. As you can see, this entire resistance, this previous high, this low, this low. So there is quite a bit of resistance in that area. So going back to the 4-hour on linear scale, this is why it's good to go between back and forth. You can see it's holding this pitchfork, but the fibs are working off of linear if this count is correct. So the question is this fourth wave complete? We came down to the 382 on linear scale. On log scale, we have a little more room to go. The 382 is around 3450. What I want to see in this area is either an impulse straight up from here up to $57. If we do come back up, I'd want to hold 3450 and above this pivot here, which is the beginning of our fourth wave. And this was a flat pattern as an A, B, C, and then we got our fifth of the third. So I'd want to hold above that area before I might have to adjust my count to the downside. So looking at today's pattern, I'm not sold on it as an impulse. It can be, and we just got a really short fourth wave here. But I want to give it a little more time before I would enter a trade setup on this one. It appears we had a 3-wave move to the downside. We can see our largest correction is right here, just shy of the 1-to-1 extension. So a flat and a, yeah, it's a very complex correction. But more importantly, what did we get off the low, right? It doesn't look that impulsive to me at the moment. How I would change my view if we're getting impulsive is if we come up here and we trend sideways. If we got something like that, I might be interested in a long with the stop at this low. But it appears we're selling off pretty quickly. We're already at the 50, and it looks like we only have the first leg in. So I'd want to see a pretty decent recovery here and then a third wave down before I'd be interested in a trade. So we'll let this pan out a little bit more before making a decision. That's what I'm going to do. If we come up like this, drop below the 618, I would change my view to this is most likely a 3-wave move, and then we'd look for a 3 or a 5 down to that 34 area. Again, staying above this pivot would be ideal. Even if we got some sort of running flat, as you know, I always look for these where we make a higher high, protect this low as an A, B, C, in which case we'd move our 4th over here. But this can get impulsive. If we did get this exact pattern, I would probably take a long, and that is if we'd get a sideways consolidation. What I would do personally, it's not financial advice, just what I would do, is if we got this pattern, we got a nice 3-wave in or around between the 50 and the 618. I would try and get an entry in there. I'd be targeting that $57. Nice little almost 6-to-1 trade setup. But as soon as we broke this high, say we get this, as soon as we break this high, I'm moving my stop to break even. Like right away, because there's too many ways this correction can get bigger, because we could just make that could just be an ABC as soon as we break that high, and then we come back down here. So I wouldn't want to risk too much in this area when there's too much possible. So that would be my trading approach personally if we did get that nice correction and we're trading it to the upside. But I want to give this a little more time before getting confident in this trade setup. If I miss it and it just takes off from here, no big deal. I would potentially look for a short up in this area around $57 if indicators, pattern, and everything lines up well and we get a nice clean 5 or an ending diagonal. I would consider entering a short up in that area. But until now, just sitting and waiting on AVAX, see a little more of this pattern trade setup before making a decision. But this is the low I want to see hold, which is 34.02 to keep this pattern intact. All right, guys, that's it for this one. If you want to see my other trades, I'm in all these right now. I put video updates on everything, so make sure to like and subscribe if you want to follow along. And thanks for watching.